Hey y'all, it's day 12 and it's a Friday. Hope everyone's doing well and you've had a good day. I certainly have had a great day at the clinic. I got to meet again with my oncologist. He's just so pleased with how well I'm doing. And I did the new immunotherapy drug yesterday. I was a little nervous about side effects and I really have had very few. I did feel a little nauseous last night, but I ate and it went away. Been a little tired, but other than that, I mean, I was able to work out yesterday and I did some work for my job. I was able to do my diagnosis vlog, which was a very therapeutic thing for me. And thanks everyone for your comments on that. I hope it was helpful. And so anyway, I'm just feeling great and so happy to be here. And since it's Friday, I thought, okay, maybe this will be a good day to start something new that I've been thinking about. So I'll start with a little story. So, I consider my home base Victor, Idaho, and I'm from Texas, obviously, but that's where I've spent most of my adult life has been in Idaho, and so. I would always, when I lived there, host these gatherings. I'm a social person, and had a nice home, and so I would always find reasons to have people over. And, in true, Texas fashion, though, everything had to look a certain way, and I had, all the food on the island for everyone to stand around and, graze at all the food, but everything had to have its own little dish and look pretty, and I would have these shot glass holders where there's ice in the bottom, and then you have the little glasses, and at some point in every gathering, there'd be oh, let's do a holly shot, and I'd go over and I'd mix some random shot of whatever I had in the refrigerator, and then carry them around the room. It was just good, clean fun, and so it just kind of sounded good, like holly shot kind of went rolled off the tongue easily, and so that's what it just became known as. And I'd be camping and everyone would be like holly shots, and have to come up with something out in the woods. But anyway, so I don't really drink anymore, so those holly shots are kind of a distant memory, good and bad of that, but I thought, well, let's change it. And now, instead of holly shots, I'll be holly thoughts. Because I have so many thoughts going through my head constantly. And especially in the last 8 months, things that I want to share. But even over the last 2 years, a lot's happened. And I think, someone might benefit. So let me get these thoughts out, So I thought, okay, it's Friday. I'm going to give some holly thoughts. And so my new thing. It's not quite as fun as a holly shot. It's not going to make you dance on the table and stay up to an ungodly hour. But you'll feel better in the morning. So hopefully. Anyway, so how I thought today starts with a little story about when I arrived at my mom's in July after I was diagnosed. And it was probably the darkest moment of my cancer journey, because when I got there, it's reality just set in. I had been, when I was in Idaho, I was in so much pain that I was on all these pain pills that kept me sleeping around the clock. And when I was awake, I was barely awake and barely functioning and just in this fog, and then I'd go back to sleep. And but when I got to my mom's, the pain was gone, and the pain pills are awful. And so I got off of that, and I was, for the first time, having to deal, and it was a dark moment. I realized all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I just got pulled away from my home, my dogs, my job. I've got this very dark prognosis, and I'm at my mom's house, which is a familiar place and very comfortable, but it's not where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be starting this new chapter of my life. So it was a dark moment, and I just, after kind of getting a little bit out of that fog, I was like, okay, I've got to find a way to change what the doctors are telling me. Like, it can't be true that I only have 3 years left to live. Like, no, that's not what is happening. And so I just started engulfing myself with anything that would give me a glimpse of hope for another scenario. And so one of the first things that I did, I read a book, and I don't remember who recommended it to me because so many people have, but here it is, Radical Remissions by Kelly A. Turner. And it's fabulous, and I recommend it to anybody, even if cancer is not a part of your world. The stories in here are so inspiring, but it's individual stories about cancer patients that have had these radical remissions. And I've learned that radical remissions in the scientific world is just something that happens where people are completely healed, and there's no real explanation for it. It's like it doesn't, like whatever they did doesn't fit into the regular medical model that, you know, of chemo and surgery and, you know, the things that they usually use on people. And so there's stories in here, all different kinds of remissions that from people that were given absolutely no hope. One guy was put on hospice and, you know, was like, you only have days to live, you know? And anyway, 20 years later, he is alive and well and cancer-free. So really cool stories, very motivating. But the author talks about common traits that these people have and the things that they all kind of have in common that she thinks is part of the reason that they survive. And so she has you do this exercise, and you are supposed to, there's, you know, several different things, but the first thing is you're supposed to figure out your why, and that means why are you fighting and who for, and what does that person mean to you, but what do you mean to them? Like, who is that person or those people that if you were gone, that their every day would be severely interrupted, you know? And so I'm sit down and I'm so excited to do this exercise, and I'm like, okay, you know, I got to the point in the book and I get my paper and I'm like, and I'm stuck. I'm like stuck on this first question, and I was so upset, and I'm like, I call my friend Tom and I'm like, Tom, I can't even answer this first question. How am I gonna get, you know, through this whole thing? And I don't know who my person is. And I told him, I said, it is not at all that I don't know and understand all of the love that surrounds me. I am so incredibly blessed with that amount of love from my family, immediate, distant family, to my friends of friends, and then people that don't even know me, that are following my story and are praying for me. And I mean, none of that escapes me. Like, I get that, and I'm so incredibly thankful for it, but I couldn't answer that question, like, who is the person that if you're not here is going to be affected in their everyday life? And I was like, I don't have that person. Like, I'm not a mom. You know, I always wanted to be a mom, but I'm not a mom. I'm not a wife anymore, so there's not that everyday thing. I'm a dog mom, and my dogs love me, but you know, if I was gone, like, they'd figure it out. Like, they'd be okay, you know? And Tom was like, stop. Let me tell you who needs you. And by the time I got on the phone with him, I not only had one person, I had a list. And it was so powerful, and I was like, okay, I've got my why as far as why am I fighting and who am I fighting for? And then the next part of the exercise was to go through a list of like kind of tangible things that you want to do. Like, it could be, you know, things you want to accomplish. Maybe it could be places you want to go. Maybe it's like some physical or, you know, some kind of athletic accomplishment that you've always wanted to do, whatever it is, like those things that you want to do yet in your life. And so you have your list of the things and the people and the whys, and then you kind of ask yourself, so what am I doing for me that will allow me to be what I need to be for that person, that thing. And, you know, it's kind of like, how am I taking care of myself, loving myself, so that I can be what these other people or this person deserves, right? So once I had that figured out, I was like, okay, now I know who, what, why I'm fighting. And it just gave me that motivation, you know, that even though through this whole time I have not been okay with what my doctors have told me, but I haven't always just been like, okay, I'm gonna fight with every bit of my being for something, you know what I mean? And now I had that figured out. And so my Holly thought is, we all need to know our why. We all need to know who and why and what we're fighting through this life for. And it isn't just if you've got cancer, it's like whatever life throws at you, you know? And asking ourselves, like, are we treating ourselves in a way that is going to make us be the best we can be for those who need us? You know, even if it's not about us, like, yes, we do things for us, and that's so important. But I think what's more important is the gift of us, you know, to whoever needs us, whoever we're closest to. And so that's kind of where my mind goes whenever I get lazy or whenever things get rough, or where I just keep hitting these walls of, like, you know, things being not perfect. I just start thinking about, okay, but who's gonna miss me? Who needs me? And it gives me that, you know, strong desire to fight. And so that's my Holly thought for Friday. Like, know your why and know what you need to do to be the best that you can be, to accomplish whatever you're setting out to do. And to start now. Like, I always think, or used to think, oh, I'll wait for this event first. You know, I got to go to this wedding. I got to go to, you know, someone's birthday party. You know, it's not Monday. All bad things start on Monday. So let's wait till Monday, you know, and it's so silly. I used to do this thing with my sister. Like, we would always start these health kicks, you know, and we would be texting each other. And I'd say to her, are we gonna be like 90 and texting? And I'm like, no, it probably won't be texting then. It'll be like some hologram in our living room where we're actually talking to each other. But well, we're like, okay, Monday we're starting the whole 30, and for 30 days, you know, we're gonna do whatever. And because we would do this, like, you know, like every few months it'd be a new thing of, or maybe the thing that we did, you know, 60 days ago that we didn't complete, or we just want to redo it or whatever. And I'd always say to her, like, when is it going to be just an everyday habit that we are always taking the very best care of ourselves, instead of like being the exception? Like right now, or then it was like, we're going to be exceptional for 30 days and then what, you know? And so I don't know, that shift in my mind, it didn't happen though for me every day until I got this disease. So I want to share that. Like, don't wait till you're sick to make it your everyday habit. And then it's like, if you do all the things right, then when you do have those events, you do go to that wedding, you can do whatever you want. And there's no guilt, there's no regret. And then the next day you jump back on and it's like, you know, I deserved that wedding. I deserved that cake and all those drinks, and I had a ball, you know, but now I'm back on my program. And so I don't know if other people struggle with that. I certainly did, but it wasn't until I was kind of faced with my mortality that I was finally like, you know, I think that I'm a health-minded person. I think that health is so important. I feel like I've tried to, you know, create a life surrounded in that mindset, but I didn't do it consistently. And I do think my health suffered from that, you know, maybe getting cancer was beyond my control to some degree, but the way that I treated myself at different times certainly didn't help the disease. So anyway, I just think it's so important to really love ourselves, give ourselves all the things we need to be healthy and live a long time. If not for us, for everybody who needs us. And then we can just start marking that stuff off our list, all those things that we want to do and accomplish, and the mark we want to leave on this world once we're gone, you know? So anyway, just some Friday thoughts coming from Mexico, and you know, I'll just continue to share those types of things as they come up. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will have treatment tomorrow until about noon, and then there are some folks here that are from Victor that are in a different cancer treatment center. I'm going to try to meet up with them, and then Sunday, my mom and I hired a driver to drive us down to Rosarito Beach and Puerto Nuevo, and those are my old stomping grounds. I haven't been down there for probably, I don't know, 18, 19 years. So anyway, excited about that. So I'll be doing some filming out and about and get us out of this hotel room. Anyway, so stay tuned for that and have a wonderful, wonderful Friday night. Talk soon.